And we're off. Welcome to episode 2 of The Paradigm Shift. I'm your host, Tunji, and I'm joined with my brother today, where we're going to discuss a couple of things. Maybe it will inspire some people who are going through a tough time. Maybe it will give some insight into somebody, but I think it'll be a valuable conversation. Anyway, so let's kick it off. Wally, give us a little bit about yourself. Who you are, what do you do?
My name is Wale Ifaturoti, and I'm 20 years old. I'm a third year construction manager at DKIT. I have a full license. I'm a novice driver. I have my own car. I work part time. What else? I like to run. I like to go to the gym. I like to eat food. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So, as you know, I started a new podcast, and because we had the Tunji's pod before, and you were on a lot of those episodes there, and a lot of people actually thought that they couldn't believe that you were only like 19 at the time. They were just like, "Wow, he actually has like a lot of good insights and stuff like that." People actually were surprised, and they actually liked you as a co-host. So it's a good thing to come back again, just to show the people, you know, that we're good. We're climbing together. He's almost finished school now, so um, it'll be good now when he starts working, start doing a lot more stuff. Then we can plan our trip to Japan finally.
It's a must.
Yes,
I
it's a must.
have to go there.
Yeah, I
I
think
was
it's
even
like
thinking
definitely one.
No, I was thinking of going to Texas as well,
Yeah,
like the Texas barbecue and all that.
I know that's the only reason why you'd go there, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, no, Texas would be pretty cool just to try that. Anything else though is not really intriguing. But anyway, let's get right into it. So, the whole thing of the paradigm shift, we talk about how a moment in time can make or break a person. Can you go back to a time where you felt like this here, it would be a reason, like somebody would, you know, would do the worst thing to themselves going through what I'm going through right now. And what helped you in that time to overcome that, and how you managed to overcome a really tough part of thing? Because one of the major things, even though we grew up in the same house, we had two completely different experiences growing up, completely different, you know. So it just be a matter of just touching on a few things to see that it is inspiring. Because to be honest with you, I am actually inspired by your resilience, and so I just think that other people would definitely find it valuable to hear it from yourself as well.
See, there's so many other situations, but if I could try and remember one specific one, it would probably be. Would it be? I'd say actually recently, literally, but like the last 2-ish months of summer. That's when my life was like, if I couldn't actually explain it to you in words, because anyone going through that would, not most people, no, no, not like, I'd say some people could go through it as well. It's just how I dealt with it. It's for example, when I was going through it, I lost my job on the 22nd of July. I lost my job then, and then I was trying to get into my year three of college. So I knew I passed my other module, so I was going to get into year three anyways, but I still had one other exam at the end of August. Yeah, but the 30th of August. And when I lost my job, I had money saved up. I had that put aside, but that was put aside for college. But the college grant, actually, I was back and forth with them 16 times. Back, forth, back. Because they just didn't want to give it to me. They didn't want to give it to me. And I actually couldn't work until they gave me that until I got the grant, because if I didn't get that, like, because I was calculating the amount of weeks I had left, and the amount of money that I'd make wouldn't equivalent the amount that I'd get from my college funding, if you know what I mean. And then I'm like, right, I'm stuck in a sticky situation here. And I just kept going. I kept using my savings to pay for my car and pay for this and whatnot. Kept going and going and going and going. And then all of a sudden, I'm running out of money. And I'm like, wow, I actually haven't, like, I check my account, I had no money left. I'm like, what on earth am I going to do? I hadn't a clue what to do. This bill's coming in this day, that bill's coming out that day. And then each week, it was just
Something
like,
new every time.
yeah, there was one time I got 3 days work, and then this one guy didn't like me, so he let go of me from that job. I was only there for 3 days, and then the money I got from that, I used to pay for I think my insurance that month. I'm like, grand, that's paid for, but then I still needed money for everything else, and I'm like, damn, what am I gonna do? And then I got another job in some other place for like 2 weeks, but the first week I got paid, it got emergency tax, so about 100 quid of it just went, and then I had to pay for my college registration. I had to do all that. Now, this was, and then, but I got accepted for the grant before all of this, but now I'm at a stage now where I'm like, grant, I need to quickly go get a job and work like the last month, so I'll have enough money to do me a good bit in college. And then I think I got about 10 job offers on the phone with them. Yeah, can you come in this day? Are you a student? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, sorry, we don't take students. Every single one. They don't take students. They don't take students. They don't take students. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm there praying to God. I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm just sitting in bed looking at the ceiling. I just don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get this other job offer there in this other place that I used to work with a couple of years ago. And I got about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks work there. And that's when I got the emergency tax. And the next week when I got paid, I'll tell you the amount. It was like 300 and something quid. But I owed my other friend €150. I had to pay him off. Then I owed my sister 170 for my insurance. I had
Bloody
to pay
fish.
her off. So I was left no money again. And I'm like, oh my days, what am I supposed to do? See, even food, I hadn't a clue what I was going to eat. And I'm thinking in my head, right, let me just sell my car. And I'm like, wait a minute, no. I've been fighting this whole time to keep it. If I sell it, because this is what I was thinking about, like, if I sold it. If I sold it, I'm in a worse position than I was
Yeah.
beforehand. Think about
Because
it.
you'll never be able to get to work.
That's what I'm saying. Let's just
You'll
say
get
I
to work.
get 9K for it, right? I get €9,000 for it. If people know I have €9,000, like that's not really a good sign, you know what I mean? And to go get another car is another big problem, right?
Yeah.
So that 9 grand turns into probably about 7 grand immediately, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then the money just starts depleting every
Yeah.
single week, every single week, every single week, depleting.
And then it's
So
gone.
oh, I am not doing that. I'm going to keep it. If I can't pay for it, it's sitting in the garden. I don't care. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And after that, and then the other week when I was in college, I finally got that other money, and then I used that to buy a bit of food and then to pay for fuel and stuff. But then when I was so broke, I figured out a way how to get like my protein intake in a sense
Mhm.
while getting stuff really cheap. Because what I did, I was like, right, I just get like one rotisserie chicken, 4 tins of tuna, and like the chicken tikka packets.
Yeah.
I get about one or two of them, and I was like, right, and I divide that for the whole week.
Mm.
The entire divide it. If there's bread at home, I eat that. If there's rice there, I eat it. If there's carrots somewhere, I'll eat that. I just eat anything in sight, right? And then I was going on and going on and going on, and I got another job offer, and this is what confused me the most, because this is why nobody should ever have wishful thinking, because I went into, like, I was emailing him, right? And he said, yeah, can you come in for an interview? And I told him, I'm a student and I'm only available for evening work. He said, yeah, that's okay. I'm a grand. I dress up. I go to the interview. I get there. We're talking, having a nice conversation. Then he turns around and says to me, can you do 12 a.m. to 6 a.m.? And I'm like, I thought it was evening shift. And he says, yeah, about that. I can't really give that to you. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Just lied.
and I'm just thinking to myself, and I'm like, wow. Like, you think I'm just gonna change my mind here and now to do night shift in college? That doesn't make any sense. You know, it makes zero sense. And I'm just like, wow, and I just left the place, and I'm like, right, I don't know what I'm gonna do. had zero on my account, zero here, zero here. Brain was all over the place. And then I kept applying. And then I had to go Dublin to get surgery done. And then I got a call midway when I was doing the surgery. I got a call off this other place, but I couldn't actually answer because I was midway doing it. But 13 minutes later, I went back out and then I answered the phone, and then I called them back, and then two of them pretty much were just sending me back and forth to places. And then I called back, I think like a day or two later, and then someone else took my name down. And then I got an interview for that place, and then I finally got that job, and it's like right beside my campus. You know what I mean? But what I'm explaining to you now, it doesn't sound so bad. It's until you're in that situation, because it's like, imagine going 2 months not knowing how you're going to pay for this next week.
Yeah.
Or what you're going to eat next week. You don't know. You know what I mean? And then this
You're
is why
taking each week as it comes.
Exactly. Like, not even each day. You know what I mean? Each day, in my head, I thought it was just a gamble, but it was God at the end of the day. You know what I mean? God helped me a lot in this situation. And I know a lot of people don't believe in God, but this is the kind of situation I do believe in God. And actually, I actually forgot to mention in another part of it, when the electricity bill came for my household, because it goes three ways, and I'm like, oh gosh, how am I going to pay this? God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? You know what I mean? I think I had my €125 for the student registration. Then I had my insurance, loan bill, and I had the electricity bill, all coming in the same week, I think. Days, what am I going to do? Oh, sorry, no, the electricity bill was the week before that. No, yeah, it was the week before that. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And then, see the social welfare. I said to myself, I will only go to that if I am absolutely desperate. Desperate. And then I finally signed up for it, right? And if you get accepted for it, you're supposed to get back pay. And since I was unemployed so long, I should have got about €500, €400. Then they said, I said in the website, I'll be getting 2 something. But then they said to me, no, you're actually getting 98. You know what I mean? So it went from 5 to 2 to 98, and I'm like, this is just my luck again. But then I got that money, I added €10 on top of it, and I paid for my electricity bill there. I'm like, grand, that's sorted. And then yeah, I think that's the whole situation summed up, but it's kind of hard to explain off the top of my head. But I think if you were going through it, just imagine, right? You have bills to pay and you don't know how you're going to pay them. You need to get petrol for your car and you need to buy food and you don't know how you're going to get them. That was me in that situation. That was actually me. I just hadn't a clue.
Oh,
you know what I
man.
mean? And it was terrifying. You know what I mean? It was really scary because I remember you saying that if you destroy your credit, like, you're finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thinking to myself, wow, if I actually ruin my credit at this age, what am I going to do? What to do? And I'm like, oh my days, you know? And then God finally took me in a situation and saved me, and now I'm here.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It really is tough.
You know?
Especially when you don't know when the next thing is coming in.
Don't know
When they
when
just snatch, and that's why I'll never feel a sense of security when I'm working again. Because you can lose that job at any time. That job is not something that you can keep.
Now, the fact that you mentioned that, the situation that I also learned from was actually from you. Do you remember that time? There was a time when everyone in my household was sick. My mother was in the hospital. We were
I said this on last week's episode.
Oh, you said it, did you?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, no, and then we were in such a terrible position, and then my brother got let go from his job at that kind of situation, and the people knew that our mother was in the hospital, but you know what I mean. We just good luck with you. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, wow, these companies actually don't care.
No, I don't give a damn.
Don't care about you. And some people out here, I'm not saying you don't have to do a good job at your work. You obviously do a good job. But don't kill yourself for these companies. You know? And that's another lesson I learned about this life. Feel sorry for people. not companies. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
fact.
Company, companies don't give a dash about you. You know, people
Yeah,
care, but companies don't. You know,
that's a fact. No more false sense of security for me. After I felt that, I said, never again will I put my like, excuse me, hopes onto people like that again. I said, because that was so unexpected. Because I knew my
and
money was coming in. You know your money is coming in. You're in a secure job. All of that stuff. So called secure. But then I realized I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't put my destiny in someone else's hands. And that's why I was so happy that I had investments and I had savings that I could eat into to get me over, you know? And that's why I'm like very big on creating, like having not just as soon as you get your money, it's gone. Because if you're like, if something happens, you lose that job, for example, you have nothing to fall back on. And that's the
exactly.
position that you're in now because your bills, like you're at the stage where you're not making enough to be able to actually like, you know, kind of keep ahead of your expenses. You
The,
can't
the,
because you're a student.
no, but I don't know how I was even surviving the first while. It was the fact that I had money saved up, and like you mentioned
Exactly.
there, if I didn't have money saved up, I'd be toast.
Hmm.
I would toast. I'd be finished. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And that's what people need to learn. I'm not saying love money, but it's like at least save half your wage or put it away because you
Half.
don't know when the rainy day is going to come.
Mm.
They will say we just need to let go of 5 people, and they'll be like, right, who are the 5 people who aren't really doing much this month? You, and you. Good luck with you. That's it.
Hmm.
Now what?
Yeah.
If you have a kid and you have a wife,
Yeah, and
you know,
that's actually one thing that I was thinking about. Like people that have families, like imagine all as soon as you get paid, like, and that's why I have a bit of sympathy for our own dad, you know, because he was the only one that worked in the house, and then he had 4 kids, no, 6 kids, sorry, 6 kids to take care of, and then to try and do other stuff as well with one salary, a minimum wage salary at that, you know, and that's what I'm just like. How is anybody going to be like? Where are you going to get extra cash from? Like, you just can't get it. And I just imagine losing that job, and you have a family. It's so difficult, you know. That's why Ireland, I give them their props to an extent because, you know, if someone loses all their job and everything, at least they'll be able to take care of you a little bit for you to like, you know, try and gather yourself back again to get back into work, you know.
yeah,
But oh my goodness gracious, like imagine the position you were in, but you had a kid or a wife, like
because
like
that
all that
they
stress on you. Imagine that now you have two people relying on you, and then it just gets you thinking like, wow, like it's just it's so hard. And so like when you're going through this stuff, yeah, because obviously you're not the type to actually talk to someone, to just give someone a ring and say, here man, like I'm struggling right now, man, you know, I just want to talk to somebody. You're not the type to do them things.
and this is what I was even thinking about this earlier in my car because this is the irritating thing about me. It's the fact that I was alone so long. It's like see when someone is like trying to be loving or caring or like, oh, like just talk to this person. I just find that like foreign. You know what I mean? Like it's weird to me because it's like I just don't know I'm just not used to it. You know what I mean? So if a person, and this is why I think I would have a problem being in a relationship nowadays because it's like for example, they might want affection, but it's like unless you say I'm not showing it. It's not as if I don't like them. It's just in my own head, it's like I don't really need to be texting them all the time or saying this and saying that. But maybe that's the way they want it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know. But I think that's a problem that I have with myself is that I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders all the time, and it's like it's a very bad habit to have, and it's very difficult to get rid of. You know, because the reason why I think it's very difficult to get rid of, and is because the last time I opened up to an individual, they ignored me. Even though they hit me up for this is why I didn't understand. They hit me up first and ignored the message for 2 weeks. Just didn't even respond.
Yeah.
Ever since that day, I said, you know what? I'm done. You know, I'm done opening up to people. I'm done. And if anyone's watching this who knows me, they'll be like, "Oh no, but like, well, you can come and talk to me or whatever." It's
Be
like
quiet.
just be quiet. I don't want to hear. You know, like I know people for who they are now. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
If anybody had a good thing on people, I think it'd be you because you've really seen like the darkest parts of the human nature. Like
I've
you've
seen the.
seen every stage. Like you said a minute ago that you enjoy being alone, right? And that there's a reason for you always being alone. So where did that stem from? Where did it start? Tell us the story, because I know where you're going with it. It was secondary school,
Oh yeah,
not primary. It was started in secondary school.
so it started in secondary school. From first to fifth year was completely fine. There was nothing wrong. It was sixth year is when this arc started. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When this new season of my life.
this was the
You know,
paradigm shift.
literally. And
This
this
was
is
the
what
paradigm shift. This actually changed you to who you are today. Like
I'm saying. Like
that
I just
1 year.
you know, and then
Crazy.
I was in sixth year, and then my best friend left school. And my two other close friends both had girlfriends, so they were always with them. You know, and I was just by myself all the time. And then I started selling me coke and sweets and whatnot. Started doing that there on the side. And then once I kind of finished selling, I was just like either sitting. I was either just sitting. At a There was even this one time a teacher seen me. You're not allowed phones.
Mhm.
The teacher seen me on my phone and they just looked and walked away
See, that's
because
funny. That's funny because you've said that before. That you're not allowed on your phone. If teacher sees anybody on their phone, they'll
they
take your
take your
phone
phone.
off you. But she saw you on your phone, and instead of her she's like, "Oh, he's the lonely one. I'll just leave him be because he has nothing else." Like they knew you were always alone, and that they did nothing about it. You know?
Like see at lunch times when people had people to hang around with.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, "Oh, you going up the street? You going here? You going here?" I had nobody at lunchtime. What I actually started doing was going up to the because if I was just sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I just go up to the courts and I just play with a big bunch of secondaries, play football or something like that with them. You know what I mean? I'd do that sometimes, or I would when I finished selling, I'd kind of just like pick a random person and just sometimes they didn't even want me there, but I was like, I just for someone to talk to anyway, and I just keep talking, you know. Yeah, it's not a nice feeling when you're trying to talk to someone and they don't want you there. And it's
And
like
you
these are
know they
some
don't
people
want you
who I'm seeing to this day, and if something ever happened in my life, they'd be the first one to be like, "Oh, well, Wally, what's the crack?" But
there.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I remember this sort. I just don't forget it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But yeah, so most of the time I was kind of just once I finished selling, I was just like sitting there doing nothing. It was only near enough the end of the year is when I started hanging around with different people. That was only for like a little while though, like the start of first year of college, and then another situation there happened, and then I stopped talking to them. And then in first year of college, I didn't hang around anyone. I just do my work and kind of just like gander around. If I seen someone from my secondary school there or whatever, I'd like have a chat with them or whatever. But that was really it. Second year online, and then I had to repeat the two modules, and then I was working part time, and then I was doing the two modules, and I passed them, and then I'm at the year three. But that's the kind of bit in my life that changed. It was sixth year that sort of changed me, and how I even got like different sides of people. It's because, for example, when I was in like fourth, fifth, sixth class, first year, second year, third year, I was small, I was a wee bit chubby. No one would really like give it the time of day, if you know what I mean. And even on like Snapchat, when all your friends are pulling all the girls and you just can't, they won't even add you or they'll just
Ah,
ignore. I had
yeah.
that many times. I had that many times, and it's like this. I'll even give you a perfect example. There was this one girl. I won't name her name, but just one girl, right? From secondary school. It's like I'd be talking to her, blah blah blah. But then when college came, right? I was at my locker. So like in first year, I bought this locker. It was like 25 € for the year. I was there and I was sitting there on the ground eating my lunch, right? And then she was walking past. And I said, hi, such and such. And then she just looked and then just kept walking. And I'm just like, wow. And I'm kind of shelled. Like, I'm just like surprised because she's with her new friends there. But it's like, it's not as if you don't know me. You just completely ignored me. I'm like, wow. But then the same person, I think this was about 3 months ago. I remember our little, Vicky, our little sister, she was sick. So then I went then to get a paracetamol from the shop. And then I seen her there. And I looked away. Tell me why she does this. She's not the tail. She just does this, yeah. She's there looking like that. And when I'm leaving the shop again, she's there looking like this again. You know what I mean? Because from first year of college till now, I
Yeah,
probably grew another 2-3 inches and I gained
yeah,
about 20 kilos. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
People can't believe how big you are now.
And I grew a beard, so it's like
Yeah,
I'm a completely different person. And then you're standing there like look at me then, and I'm just like, how does this make any sense? You
yeah.
know? So I was almost like the underdog at one stage, and then all of a sudden now people are like looking up to me and
Yeah,
doing all.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
And it's
it's
funny because it's almost like the same people that ignored you back then are the ones that are, giving you props and praise now. It's like you don't even
you
want
know,
it really, you
you
know.
know.
It just seems so fake.
That's what I'm saying. And it's
Yeah.
and when that and then even when I was working in retail, ho, ho, ho,
Ooh, you find it
if you
different.
really want to see what human beings are like, work in retail for 1 week. People will come in, they'll throw their money at you, they'll throw their items, you'll say hello to them, they'll ignore you. You'll just get all sorts of abuse, you know what I mean,
Mm,
when you're working in retail. But the moral of the
crazy.
story in that situation beforehand was I got treated differently because of my appearance. If it makes any sense. So I went from this to this, and then I started to get treated differently. Now I started to get treated better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I don't really like it because it's like it's not as if I was an arsehole or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I was a nice enough guy, and I was loyal to my friends, and like I wanted to hang around with everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not as if I was mean or like that to people, but it's
Trust
just
me, I know.
yeah. And then when that there happened, and even like a couple of other times with previous friends, like you just wouldn't really be like respected in a sense because when I was so nice to certain individuals, there was this certain individual, um, his friends would always abuse him, but I would always be so nice to him, if you know what I mean. And like he had a bit of like mental health issues and all that stuff, and I would be pretty much the only one to go outside to him, the only one to talk to him, blah 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 blah. But then all of a sudden, I get the knife in the back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Mhm.
then the parent runs back to them, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, and I'm like, wow, this just makes zero sense. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? Good luck with you. Boom, cut them off. Next person does that to me, boom, cut them off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You
Because
don't give people a chance anymore.
that's what I'm saying. When you cut someone off straight away, it hurts them. You
Yeah.
know, it really hurts them. I had this other person, as you know, two people. The parents were pretty much trying to ask me to be friends with the person again. You know what I mean? Because, but why? They have all these other people here. Why do you want me specifically to be around them so much? You know, that's just what I was just thinking in my head. And then one of these other people there, he who's abusing me, I cut him off. Then his parents asked me, why did I stop being friends with the person? I'm like, I'm always being abused by him. He's lying behind my back. He's lying this. He's just saying all sorts of rubbish. And I told her, and she was like, surprised and shocked. She went back and told him, and then he must have admitted to it. She didn't come back with anything. So he
Yeah.
must have admitted to it. You know what I mean? So if I see him on the street now, I say hello. Or the other person, if I see them on the street, I say hello. You know what I mean? But what else?
Like
Uh,
taking that into account, right? So going back to the 6th year type of thing, like what was your mental state like at that time? And then as as you got like I know what it was like, but it's just for the sake of the show. Like and then how did you overcome it? Because to be honest with you, that I'll say right now, that would lead people to suicide.
oh no, it
Being lonely is like it's a real killer. Feeling like you're alone in the world is enough to kill people. Like, it's enough for people to actually end everything, end it all,
Mm.
you know? So, like, how did you get through that process?
See, I don't say this in like an arrogant kind of sense. I just think mentally I'm stronger than a lot of people. You know, that's not to sound like it's because we both live two different lives. A person who's always uplifted and everyone loves them and this and that, whatever. They couldn't handle what I went through. It's just the fact that they were so loved in a sense. You know what I mean? But how I got through it in sixth year, I'll explain to you just the mental health state in sixth year. Just imagine wondering why you woke up the next day, if that makes any sense. Like you just wanted your eyes to shut and never open up ever again, but yet you keep waking up. You keep waking up, you keep waking up, you keep waking up. And then you just start getting fed up of waking up, you know what I mean? And then you keep going on each day by day, but it's just so pointless because you just don't care, you know? You don't care if this happens, you don't care if that happens, you know? And that was all going on for about a year. And then I'd say once I started doing training again, and once I started running a lot as well, that's another reason why I don't think anyone could run as much and as far as me. You know what I mean? Just well, it's probably not as far, but as much as me. That's why I don't think anyone can. Well, not anyone, but most people can't do it. It's just the fact that our two motivations are completely different things. If you're simply running just for the sake of running, you won't be able to do what I'm doing. I was almost like running to like just kind of feel something in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was an escape.
It was in this pretty much I was running away from
Yeah.
this.
Because people use drink and drugs and other substances in order to get that same thing. But you decided that I'm not going to take any of that stuff. I'm going to face it head on. Well, not really face it,
No,
the issue. You're kind of running. You're literally running away from the
I
issue.
was running away. You know?
Yeah. And that's why you ran what, like 5 kilometers every single day for 200 and something days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Which
know?
is crazy. Like, think about that. 5 kilometers
And
every single day, regardless. Rain, snow, doesn't matter the
oh,
weather. He's
rain,
out there
snow,
at night.
night, day, didn't matter. And even some of them days I actually did 10 or 15 Ks. So they
Yeah.
weren't actually all fun. Because I was doing 10K here, 5K, 10, 5, whatever. But then I'm like, wait, I'm like 50 days into this, non-stop. Let me just keep
Mm.
going. And I kept going and going and going and going and going. And then once I started once I started running and just kept doing it, because when someone sees you being consistent at something all the time, like Tunji, you don't understand the amount of people who are stopping me to this day. Yeah, I see you there running. Do you be running? I'm like, yeah, I be running every day. This next person, even this drunk guy. This drunk guy
Yeah.
came out of the pub. He stopped me at the post office. You know where the post office is?
Yeah.
He stopped me right there. And then he was just pretty much like explaining, like saying how good of a job that I'm doing. And then there's one thing that I don't really like. I don't like when people compare me to their own kids, but he was comparing me to his
Yeah.
son and daughter. He just said that they were just sitting at home with their boyfriends or girlfriends and doing nothing with themselves. Just
Yeah.
sitting there, no exercise, no nothing. You know what I mean? Just being lazy.
Yeah.
And then while you're right here, it was like 11 p.m., like 10 past 11 at night, like that. You know,
Yeah.
and I was just out there running, and I'm like, yeah, but this is just what I do, like, you know. And he just kept talking, but it's like I liked him. I liked him because it's like he was honest about it all, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
He was
You
like,
get that with drunk people. You
yeah,
tend to get that with drunk
they're
people.
always honest. You know what I mean? They tell
Yeah.
you just down to earth stuff. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
always
Yeah. Yeah.
true. You know. And then when he was saying that, and then I started getting like some sort of like recognition for it because see the fact that if it was snowing, I was
Yeah.
out there. It was, I mean, pissing rain. I look
Yeah.
outside, I'm like, grand. I'm out the door. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There was one time I actually did 20 kilometer. I did 20 kilometer run 3 times. The 2 times were a success. The first time I did it, I didn't bring water with me because I was only supposed to run, I think, 10K. No, I
Yeah.
think 5K. And I'm like, I still have tons of energy. I did the 10K. I still have energy. I'm like, grand. The 15 kilometer hit. I'm like, right, this is hard. And I think it was like, I'm not even messing. It was like about 27 degrees outside.
Yeah.
25 to 27 degrees or something along them lines. And I'm like, right. And then my sweat started drying up. No more sweat was coming out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my days. And then I'm jogging. I'm like this. And in the 19th kilometer, I just passed out on the floor for like 5 minutes. Passed out,
Crazy.
and I leaned against the wall like a dead man like this here. And then cars are just driving past, zipping past, zipping past, zipping past. Yeah, I was just like, and I'm like, oh man. And I walked the other kilometer, and as soon as I got home, I think I downed, I think like 1.4 liters of water immediately. Just
Crazy.
one cup after the one cup after the one cup
Yeah.
after the other. And I'm like, damn. And then the next time I did the 20K, I brought water with me at that time. And then I
Yeah.
did it. It was nice. And it was another time actually. This was probably and this is why, because this is why the running kind of links in with the mental health in a sense. Is because when I was running, there was even this one time. I remember that time you picked me up actually.
Oh yeah.
I did an 18 kilometers that time, but I did it at winter time.
Yeah.
It was freezing. It was cold. And what you don't understand about cold and sweat, they don't go well. Because
Yeah.
when you're sweating, the cold air dries up the sweat and it gets you
Yeah.
cold. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have gloves with me either. And then I ran up, I did the 10K. No, sorry, and I did 8K, and I'm like, right, let me just keep going. I did the 10K. Then I was coming back, and then I was just so cold. So what I would do, I would put my cold hands into my warm body, heat them up a wee bit, get the feeling back into them, bring them back, they get cold again, and I'd just be doing that over and over and over and over again. And then I'm like, no, I cannot do this because it was pitch black. My phone was on at 2%. I quickly called my brother. I said, can you come pick me up? Here. I hung up the phone. My phone died.
Yeah.
Him picked me up that time. Oh, man, that was just scary. But the moral of the story is that running, I think people out there who are depressed, go and run for like 1 week straight and just see how much you feel. See what differences you feel. You know what I mean? Because the running arc in my life helped me out a lot, because for example, when everyone else is either partying or with their girlfriends and all of this stuff, the stuff that I just couldn't get, I'm like, you know what? I'll just focus on what I can get, which is running. It's free, it's accessible to everyone. You know what I mean? So I just decided to do that, and I just started going ham at it, going ham, going ham, going ham. It's like the people that see me going out there 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just
You
kept
were
going.
known. You were known for it by literally everybody. Everybody thought. A lot of people thought it was me running out there, not knowing I actually already moved to Dublin. You
Mm.
know, but it was literally you every single day. Rain, snow, doesn't matter the weather. You'd see him out there running.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy because it was admirable, very admirable, and it was actually inspiring to a lot of people. And if anything, like you gained recognition from that, which was really good.
Yeah.
So like, but it's literally after that arc though, after that running arc, I feel like things actually just started going. Like before, things were like down here, and they were down here for like over a year. Like you were down for a good bit, like
Mm.
like proper like depressed or whatever. But then things just started looking up and getting better. And then it's like anytime hard stuff happens, it's like you just brush it off and it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. Like the arc you're going through right now, even though you had all this stuff that you couldn't, you don't know how to pay this, don't know how to pay that. But the running arc has already prepared you this for this phase, which is why you were
Mm.
able to handle it so well, you know. So it
That's
was
such.
like I think that running arc was the real paradigm shift that made you, you know
Mm.
which is just it's incredible,
But-
man.
Because what it kind of feels like, imagine like walking and there's like shackles tied to you, and
Wow.
you're always dragging them all the time. And in my head, I think sometimes, let me just give up. Let me just stop. Let me. It's like, wait a minute. If I give up, what then? You know what I mean? I'll be in a worse position if I just stop. You know. And how I actually got through even before, so when I failed the 2 5 credit modules, how I got through that year, when I was at work, I was always listening to my Bible in my ear. I was always memorizing Bible verses and just being going over the books, book match, book Revelation, just reading through all of them, you know. And I honestly think Jesus did give me a lot of like strength as well. My only issue is that my eyes. This is a topic for another day, but my eyes were opened up so much, it brought me into another deeper state of depression, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because, and people might be thinking, but how does that make any sense? Because imagine you knowing the truth and everyone else thinking you're a nut job and you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be thinking, right, maybe I am crazy,
Yeah.
you know? And no one ever understands you.
Mm-hmm.
So if nobody except the person from just the Bible, just a book, understands you, even other Christians don't really understand me, you know? They don't and they never will, you know? And that's the kind of part that gets my mind spinning a lot of the times, you know? And that's why I just want God to kind of open up my mind to that. But that's just another topic for another day. But back to the back to the secondary school thing. I think what was the question again?
Like, no question in particular. It's just we're just having a conversation. I
Oh,
think
okay.
going through that secondary school phase, looking at it, do you think now, because in secondary school you're supposed to learn life lessons and life skills and stuff like that. I think you've probably graduated in the life skills element because you've actually been through so much. Like the lone, like, imagine being that lonely in the time where you actually have the most friends. You're supposed to have the most friends at that time, but you had none. So it's like a backwards type of thing. So you can only imagine how that would make somebody like feel. Them ones.
Oh no, like if most people were in that situation, they would either overdose on pills, kill themselves. They would do some sort of harm to themselves.
Yeah.
And do I blame them? Well, I wouldn't want them to do it, but in a sense, I can see where they're coming from because such a hard place, you know?
Mm.
It's such a difficult place because I pretty much was forced to be mature at such a young age.
Mm.
While everyone else is doing crazy stuff, I was always the person with my head screwed on or whatever. People always give me, yeah, Wally's a serious guy or blah blah blah. Like I'm not sure if I even told you this, but there was even this one other situation where this girl told me, I'd like to marry you, and I'd like to marry you, and
You
then
did
I'm
tell
like,
me this.
oh, so I'd like to marry you in the future, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what do you mean in the future? Like, no, oh, sorry, oh, was that no? I'm pretty sure she worded it a certain way to pretty much saying is like, I don't want you now, obviously, but like, whenever I have my fun, because as I know you're a serious guy and I'm not serious yet, you know what I mean. So let me have my fun and then I'll come to you. That's craziness. When I heard that, I was just thinking of it, and I'm like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
like you're saying that you'd like to marry a person like me, it was something along them lines. And I'm like, wow, that's just crazy. It's
Backwards,
because
isn't it?
because even a lot of girls in this generation, they are not ready to be serious yet. Like people are looking, oh, Tunji Toaston's wedding, blah, blah, blah. Oh, congratulations for them. I don't know when I'll get married and stuff. It's like even if they were in a situation to get married, they wouldn't do it because they
No.
feel as if I'm not ready for this. I'm like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Like, what are you waiting for exactly? You
Yeah.
know, like realistically, And then that was just that situation, and that's another kind of negative aspect to my life is the fact that I have to like. It's weird. I get along better with people nearly twice my age than I do people my own age.
Yeah. Same.
Even when I'm talking to people who like I'm 20 years old, when I'm talking to other 20-year-olds, only thing, and I'm not joking, the only thing it's either drink, drugs, or shagging some girl. There's nothing else that comes out of our mouth.
There's
Nothing
nothing
else.
else.
You know?
Nothing.
and you should be sitting there. Like, I don't. It's like that's the life that they wanted. Oh, but you're young. You should enjoy your teens or whatever.
Joy.
Enjoy. But it's just it's madness. In
Yeah.
my head, it's just absolute madness. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Because
And
people
it.
tend to have people. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Oh no, you can go.
I said people tend to have it much like really backwards, right? People tend to have it really backwards because they think that you should enjoy your life while you're young, and then when you're older, you start slaving away.
Yeah,
And like it's backwards to me. Why not do all the work now? So then, as soon as you get to an age where you don't need to do as much work, you can settle down and and know that you're okay, that everything is covered, you know. And that's why I can't relate to a lot of people my own age. People my own age. I'm only 22. I'm 2 years older than you. People, I can't relate to people my age. People like there was somebody in my workplace. He didn't believe me when I told him I was 22 because he was 21. He was an intern there, you know, and he didn't believe that I had 3 years experience. He's just like, how does that work? You know, I'm 21. I'm still going into my final year, and you're here like work in this position, you walk around with this demeanor, like you're much older. Because people don't believe when I say I'm 22 because of the demeanor and the way I walk around, the way I talk to people. They don't
yeah,
believe it because it's like he's just so mature. I don't have that little like you know, like this is a prime example in the office. They ordered pizza for his last day because he was leaving, going back to college, right? And they ordered like 8 boxes between maybe 12 people. How is 12 people going to finish all these big, massive pizzas from Domino's, right? We're not going to finish all of it. But he was so scared to go up and take more pizza. Like, he was so, like, insecure about it. He'd leave, go for a walk, come back, and then when he's come back to his seat, he'd grab two on the way down to his seat. And I'm just like, oh, man. Like, it's so funny to look at because I remember when I was like that, when I cared about being in the office, oh, let me not make it seem like I'm eating too much or something. Like I'm just like, damn. But I went through that when I was 18 or 19. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I went
mm,
through that a couple of years before him. So it's just so funny to look at because it's just like, damn. So what I did was when he left, I grabbed the box of pizza and I put it on his chair, pushed his chair in because no one cares. And that's one thing that I've realized as I grew. Nobody cares. You know, and then when he opened his chair, he saw the pizza there and his face glue up. Like he was so happy because he cared so much that people were watching him. I don't want them to see me eat too much pizza. They bought it because of you. You know, they bought it for you. Eat as much as you want. I ate loads. I didn't care who's watching me or that doesn't even cross my mind anymore. You know, and it's just like a level of maturity that you get to as you get older when you realize that no one actually cares
yeah,
about what you're doing, where you're going. Nobody cares because everyone is so focused on their own life and battling their own demons that they actually don't have time to focus on you. And I've really understood that now as I've grown up a little bit, you know. And I'm still yet like I've gone through. I'm 22, but I feel like I've had like 10 years experience above everybody. Like the way I was talking to this guy, he like we just had a simple conversation just about life and stuff like that, and just the conversations that me and you always have, right? And he left to go home because it was the end of the day. He came back and said, "I can't stop thinking about the conversation we had. You actually just changed my life. You don't even realize it." And I'm just like, oh, I didn't know what to say because we were just talking. It was
yeah.
just a conversation. And
In your head, you were just talking.
do you know what I'm saying? It was just a conversation. But for him, it blew his mind that I'm a year older than him. He said, like, that's like, you sound like you're somebody that's 29 and or even 30 or 30 plus. And even when, before that, when the other company I was with, I had a work colleague, he was 29, the other one was 31. They said, listen, Tunji, I can't talk to people your age the way we're just having this conversation now. I can't talk to them like this, you know? Like it just feels normal. It feels like you're our age. Like we can have these conversations with you. Because the other lads because when I went there for drinks with them after work one of the days, the other lads were my age. One of them was even older than me, and they were literally like kids. Like you know the lads. You know when you have that like the lads type of thing. Like that's just the demeanor that they had. But it's like I don't know. It's like I skipped that stage, or I outgrew it, or something like that. Like when did I never really had a stage like that ever really. And if I did, I think it's because mom gave me freedom so young that I experienced so much up until I didn't need to experience any more again. Like I know I had a taste of everything already. I don't now I know. And it was like when I was 19 when I met my wife that I realized like yeah, like I know what life has to offer. And there's nothing more that I could want from it that I haven't already experienced or seen already with my own eyes. And maybe that's why we're so mature because we can't relate to people our age
Mm.
at all. People your age, you can't relate to them. They can't relate to you. And it's almost like you think, like, sometimes I actually feel a bit, funny enough, I actually feel a bit insecure talking to people like my age and just having a normal conversation that me and you would normally have. Because it seems like I'm bragging when I'm just having a normal conversation.
Exactly.
Like it
Bragging.
seems like you're
Bragging.
bragging or something.
Bragging is the main key point there. It's because the fact that you're speaking so normal, like I'd say my brother's married. Your brother's married. And what age is he? 22. 22. Is he? Yeah, he's moved out. He's living here. He's moved out. He's married. He's a full time job. He's finished college. He has all that at that age, 22. I'm like, yeah, it's, you know what I mean? Like in my head, it's kind of that's really good and stuff. But in people's head, like that's like 25, 26 kind of age that you would have all that sort of stuff. You know what I
Older
mean?
even.
Yeah, probably even
People
older.
only get their career started at that age.
Exactly. But the fact that you have it so young, it's why people. It's the reason why people might say that it's bragging. It's because they can't think of themselves ever doing that, and they're like, "How on earth did you do it then?" You know,
Mhm.
and then that's how they link it in that you're bragging. You know,
Yeah.
like me, we both have cars, we both have full licenses, we both. Well, I'm my final year. You're already done. You're already working. You know what I mean? But it's like, even if you have your full license at such a young age, you're already ahead of most people.
To be
They don't.
honest.
They don't even have the learner's permit yet. You know, so it's like when you said about them people in your office though, but do you know the people who are like 30 years old or whatever?
I know
Do
a
you
few
think
of them.
that so do you think that they would almost like listen to you as like an elder, or would you say they kind of talk to you and you listen to them, if you know what I mean?
It's actually funny enough. The stuff I say makes a lot of sense. Like there be lads that are actually older than me talking about situations that's going on with them. And instead of me to instead of like I just kind of sit quiet because it's like if I give what I think, it might rub off a different way, like, oh, what? Like, what? You think you're better or whatever. But to be honest, it's actually come off, like, really well. Because there's some guys that are like, he has a girlfriend and stuff like that, and he wants to move away. He wants to go to Australia and work because he's not going to make enough money here in Ireland. He just won't. And I was telling him about it, but she doesn't even want to have the conversation. Every time he brings up the conversation, just wants to change the conversation straight away and just not have it. And I'm just like, as bad as it might seem to say,
Me,
you might have to leave her. Like they've been
yeah,
together for over 6 years, right? Been together for so long. And he even says that he'd even marry her in the future. That's another question I asked him. So, would you marry this girl first and foremost? Because what are you doing for 6 years and you don't plan on marrying her? Do you plan on spending your life with her? 100%. I could see myself spend the rest of my life with her. Grand. Okay. And she doesn't want to travel the world. She doesn't want to travel or and work because like the thing that annoyed me the most is that he tried to break it down to her how they can't literally get a mortgage here in Ireland to buy a house here in Dublin or wherever they want to get it. And she just doesn't want to have the conversation. So it's not even a logical conversation. It's just emotional, you know.
and what's going to what's going to happen in that situation is that they're going to get to an age where, like you just said, you won't be able to get a mortgage, you can't get this and you can't get that. If she says, okay, let's actually do this, I have a bad feeling he might snap. Because he'll say, I've been saying this the past 4 years, and only now when you say it, we should go.
Yeah.
Fight breaks out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
he'll
think
bear a bunch of resentment if he doesn't go. And I said that to him. I said, listen, if you don't go, because you've never left the country, if you don't go and you end up staying here and stuff like that, you'll end up regretting it so much that you'll resent her for that. And you don't want to put the person you love through that resentment because that will show into how you treat them. Right. And then there was another guy that was there and he already explored the world. He traveled the world, went to different countries, worked in Australia, lived in Australia for a couple of years, lived in the UK before he came to Ireland and settled, you know. And he's only 30, 31 or something like that. You know, worked, has 150 grand cash ready to put down on a mortgage. Boom. You know, he's already kind of settled. And he said, like, everything Tunji said is literally what would happen and literally is what he would, is what he's seen happen to other people as well. He's seen that happen to other people. That
mm,
if they don't do the choice, they end up resenting the person and then they end up breaking up anyway because of that resentment, you know?
and he wasted 6 years and he didn't follow his dream job.
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly. And that's the problem I was telling. But I say that to say, just to round this little story up, like that was one of the times where I could actually have a conversation with people and not feel like off. And it's better because I prefer speaking with people that are older than me because I feel like we can relate at the same kind of level, weirdly enough. You know, like I can speak to older people better than I can speak to people my age. It's weird. It's a bit backwards. Like people my age, it's just I don't like hearing. Oh man, that's so inspiring. Oh, that's such a good idea. Like I don't like hearing that stuff because you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You don't. Like it's just not a good feeling. It feels like why am I the smartest one in the room? You don't want ever to be the smartest person in the room because then it's just like everyone's just feeding like your ego and it's not good. You don't grow that way either. There's no way for you to grow. And that's predominantly why. And funny enough, like some of my closest friends are even younger than me, they're your age. You know, it's because we're all of our minds are just kind of elevated. The way we think is elevated because we look at things from a different lens. And I think the lens that we look through is a lens of work now, play later. You know, we're delaying our gratification. We're delaying the what's the word? We're delaying all of the fun, quote unquote fun,
Pleasures, fun.
exactly till later. I don't need that nice car now. I'll stay driving my little Suzuki. You know, I don't need the newest phone. I'll stay with my iPhone 8. I don't need like all of this fake stuff. Let me get everyone together and we'll partner on things and build together so that later 10 years 15 years down the line because 15 years 10 years from now I'll be 32 15 years I'll be 37 years old. Like do you know how much energy a 37-year-old still has and like you'll have so much energy to really enjoy life and to continue building upon that foundation, you know. And that's why I'm so big on building the foundation that you have when you're young because especially now in this time that we're living in I think it's easier to get rich than ever but it's also harder to get rich now than ever as well because back in the day you could just get health insurance, yeah, and I mean life insurance, and then you could take a loan out. It's called an endowment loan. You could take a loan out of your life insurance. So let's just say if I went to the bank and said I want a €1 million policy on life insurance policy on me to cover me in case I die, right? You can then go to the bank and say, listen, I'll use my life insurance as collateral. So give me a loan out of my life insurance. So out of that million quid, let's say you borrow 300K, you just got 300K just like that because they're guaranteed to get their money because you're guaranteed to die. You're going to die. So they'll just take that money out of the loan, but that loan's gone now. People built wealth off that. Walt Disney built Disney off an endowment loan, you know, but you can't get them anymore. All of these things that lots of people used to get wealthy by aren't available for everybody anymore. But it's easier now than ever to like invest and to think of vehicles. And this is one thing that I heard Alex Hormozy say on Instagram, right? He said that if you want to get good at something, it'll take a year. If you want to be the best at something, 10 years. But if you want to change the world, a lifetime. And that's like massive. So the longer you push away a goal, the bigger and more real that goal can actually become. So at the end of the day, if we want to be able to create something for ourselves and our families, right, we need to do that now and look 10, 15 years in the future when I'm 37, you're 35, where will we be? Because you're starting to work, you're working next year. And you already know what we're going to be doing when you start working. We're going to be going ham. So at the end of the day, we're looking 10, 15 years in the future. And that's probably why we can't relate to people now. Because they're still looking at like the little stuff now, like, oh, he looked at me this way, or he said that to me, or did you see this girl? Or like in 15 years, what's that same girl that you're sweating for? What's she gonna look like then? Because she definitely doesn't take care of herself. She smokes and drinks. She's not going to look this good in 15 years. Why not get somebody that doesn't do all of that? 15 years, they're still going to look the same. We're still going to look the same because we're taking care of ourselves. We both train almost 5 to 6 days a week. Every single week, we're men. We're hammering away, chipping away at ourselves. And that's why, like, you went through all of this stuff mentally, but you're not going to sit here and make people feel sorry for you because people will have quote unquote depression, right? And they'll just sit around and feel sorry for themselves and not do anything about it. You ran from your issues by physically running, by doing something. I believe if anybody's depressed, like my brother said, anybody that's depressed, go to the gym, go and do some running, do some exercise for a week or 2 weeks or for 1 month and stay consistent and tell me how you feel after that. If you're overweight and depressed and stuff like that, get a six pack and then come back to me and tell me how you feel. Because I feel like that depression won't be there. That's just my opinion. What do you think?
It makes a lot of sense though, because when people is feeling sorry for yourself, it's like it feels so good, you know.
Mm.
But if you don't look at the outside picture, if you feel
It does
sorry
feel
for
good, doesn't it?
yourself, the realistic truth, except two or three other people, other than that, nobody cares.
Nope.
Nobody is going to push you to do it. People actually want you to fail. That's the problem. They want you to fail. Because the reason why they want you to fail, if you're failing, they'll be like, "Grant, my life is a failure, but it's not as bad as his,
Yeah.
or it's not as bad as hers."
Yeah.
Yeah, I do this, but she does it worse than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can have that kind of person to look down upon, you know, and then
Yeah.
that's why these sort of people can hang around with each other.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Misery enjoys
so
company, right?
exactly. Misery loves company, because if one person in that miserable group wants to do something better for themselves, they're not gonna like that person anymore.
Oh, and that's the crazy part. You hit the nail right on the head. There's a group of miserable people together, right? One person starts to develop themselves to get better, and now all of a sudden the group doesn't like them anymore, or that they're swaying from the group because you're not miserable anymore, so you can't be a part of us anymore. Like, how crazy is that?
It's
God.
it's very, because I don't actually want to hold it too much against the people, because in a sense I don't blame them, because if you're miserable, poor in spirit and financially, everything, and this person here is excelling in everything. No, let's just say this person was miserable but is excelling in everything. You're going to be annoyed because you're like, how dare you do that and leave me behind? You know? But nothing stopping you from doing it. You're just lazy. Like, you're not bothered. You're not bothered to do the work like that other person is doing there.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
just the truth of the matter.
And it's like, that's just the reality of it. You know, but I really do believe, right? See, when if you can manage, if you somehow put God first before anything, your life will get 10 times better.
Mm.
You know? And it sounds crazy. I don't believe in God. I don't believe. If you tried it out, just try it for maybe 1 month. Go read your Bible and try and put God before everything else, and everything in your life will go smoothly. I don't know why, but everything else in your life goes smoothly. Because the reason why, and this is the weird thing, every time recently I've had bumps in my life is when I stopped putting God first. Then all
Mm.
these bumps. I start putting God first again. I'm like, you know what, God, I don't care about everything else. I'm going to focus on you. Everything starts going up again.
Yeah.
I forget about God again. It goes back down again. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, man. Because it's like, it's almost like an equivalent exchange. Like, to go with God first, you have to stop a lot of things. But then, if you, like, but when you stop a lot of things, you're down here, but then what God gives you keeps going up here.
Exactly.
But then, as soon as you want to, actually, you know what, God, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah, you're enjoying yourself for time being, but everything else in your life just starts to go down and down and down and down. And then what? You end up broke again, or you're in a toxic relationship, or you fail in classes. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
All this bad stuff just starts to happen to you. And when you put two and two together, like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, I just think a lot of people should do, and that's why I even said to someone, if you're ever going to think about marrying a girl, this is just mainly for the men. If you're ever going to think of marrying a girl, take sex completely out of it. Can you be around that person? Yes or no? No, then don't marry them. Simple as. Simple as. Don't marry them, because if you can't be around them to just talk to them, you shouldn't get married to that individual. You just shouldn't. You
Mm.
know. Because you're lusting after the person.
Yeah.
You're lusting. That's it. You know, there's plenty of 10 out of 10s out there that you couldn't marry.
Yeah.
You couldn't marry. They can't cook. They can't clean. They're good looking, though, but they can't do any of them things.
Can't
You
do
know?
anything.
And that's just what I'd say for the kind of marriage kind of aspect to it. And when you have that mentality from 100 girls, it just goes down to maybe like five.
Yeah. Mm.
And to get that five is just even difficult as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Where to find
Because
them?
to get, I'd say in this generation, to get a good quality girl, you need to be working full time, at least making a decent chunk of money. You know what I
Mm.
mean? You know, as long as you don't have to be living with your parents, but you need to have a full time job and making a decent chunk and have a car. You know what I
Mm.
mean? That's like the bare minimum in a sense. You
Yeah.
know, because and at first I was like, no, that's a bit too but then I thought about it again to myself. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I had a daughter, would I let her marry a bum? No, she's not marrying a bum or a brokey or this. No. Oh, but I love him. But you're going to suffer. You know what I mean? You're just gonna suffer. I'm not saying the guy has to be rich. You don't have to be rich in this world to take care of someone. Like, when I mean broke, I mean making 380 quid a week taking care of two kids. That's not gonna break
It's
it.
impossible. You cannot do that.
You can't do it. I mean, you need to be making at least in this generation, at least if you married my daughter and had two kids with her, you at least need to be making 800 to 900 euro. You know
A
what I
week,
mean?
yeah. At
A week.
least.
Because with that kind of money, you can take care of them. You have a small bit of savings and all of this stuff. You can do it.
Mm.
But to be flat broke and just say, no, but the woman should marry me for me, and I'm like, come here to me. Would you let your daughter marry you? Think about it. Like a person like you, you know?
Yeah.
Situation you're in, you're flat broke, you've no money, you've no car, you've no license, you've no education, you've nothing, you know?
Yeah. Like,
And this,
what do you actually have to
what?
provide
That's what I'm saying.
for my daughter?
I love her and stuff, but you can't even take care of yourself properly, and you want me to put her in your hands because when you
Yeah.
go to, they're giving her to you to take care of now.
Yeah.
She's your care now, you know, and that's when I got like the victim kind of blaming mentality,
Yeah.
blaming
Yeah. Yeah.
it's this person's fault, and I'm like, wait a minute. Would I let my daughter marry a damn scoundrel who doesn't want to do anything for himself? You know? No! Because what's going to happen, he's going to be broken miserable. He's going to bring her into that miserable brokenness. Now, both of them are going to be them, that sour couple on the dole, hating on the whole world. And the kids are going to be suffering. Mom, Dad, can we go here? No, sorry, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. You know what I mean? What kind of life would that be? You know, you can't even go to the cinema or go on holidays with your kids or nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's just when I said it's like you need to it's you need to basically say, could I let my own daughter marry the version of myself now?
Yeah.
If you say yes, then grand. You're in some war because every man, every like dad is so protective of their daughters,
Yeah.
and every father is so protective of their sons. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because men know what men are like, and women know what women are like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why. So like, if you're giving your daughter and you're going to inspect that guy, you're going to see this. You know all the tricks that they might play. You know everything. You know, and then when you finally give her into the hands, it's happy to see them getting married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that me and you suffered financially growing up, I
Mm.
don't want that for my own kids or our kids.
Heck no.
I don't want that because it's not fun. People say,
No.
"Oh, it gets you to work hard." I don't care. It's not fun.
It's not fun when you're going through.
Me and my brother just have the strong mind. Like our kids might not even have our strong minds. You know what I mean? They
They
might have.
might not because they will have grown up with good and silver, as our parents said that we grew up in. But at the end of the day, compared to them, we grew up in gold and silver, and then
Yeah,
compared to our kids, they'll grow up in gold and silver. But at the end
exactly.
of the day, we don't know any real suffer. Like we obviously, yeah, okay, we never missed a meal, right? Which is like the main thing. We never missed a meal. We always had a roof over our head. Yeah. So, but imagine growing up not knowing when your next meal is coming. So you're going to only plan for this meal right now. This could be my last meal. So that's why a lot of Nigerians tend to be like more greedy when it comes to stuff because it's like they'll shaft you for a quick 100 quid and destroy a whole relationship over a quick 100 quid because they don't know when that 100 quid will come back again, you know? And it's a mentality thing, I believe, you know? And at the end of the day, you had a great example saying, if you wouldn't let your own flesh and blood daughter go for a person like you, why are you complaining? Fix yourself. Become a man that you would let your daughter go for. Like what kind of man would you let your daughter go for? Become that man, set the example, yeah, and your life will just start getting better. But if you sit there and blame and be a victim all the time, yeah, your life will not increase. If anything, your life will just go down. You're shortening your own lifespan. You can do so much. Human beings have so much potential. Men have so much potential. You can't waste that potential. That energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred, right? So where are you transferring that energy? That energy that you're lacking, you're transferring it onto TikTok to start commenting under girls' photos saying that you're ugly when you're sitting in a dark room at night. You know, when you're not doing anything with yourself, you're doing nothing to improve yourself mentally. You're doing nothing to improve yourself physically, right? Because I believe that the first thing that every man should do is to get physically fit, and I truly believe that from the
Because
bottom of my heart.
it's literally free.
It's
Like,
free.
go run, go do some pull-ups, push-ups. Like, it's free.
Free,
You know,
man. Every
you don't
man should
need the
be
gym to look
fit.
in good shape. You
Say
know,
again?
no, I say you don't even need the gym to be in good shape.
Oh,
Run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. Done.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
And and give that a year, you'll be in amazing shape.
yeah. 1 year, you do that for sure. You'll have you will be a different man than when you began, and that confidence leads to things happening in your life. When you walk around confident with your chest up, things just change and people treat you differently. Like you see now, you're walking around. You don't slouch anymore. You walk around with your chest out, confidence, and now people are looking like, wow. But they didn't know what you had to go through to get to that stage. It's
Even
because,
even
go on.
I don't, even when I'm in college now, because the fact is that when I went there from first year, the second year was online, and the
Yeah.
second year repeated for the two modules, and then the third year when and you'll actually see me getting out of my car. I was wearing my black because it was there my interview. I was wearing my black pants and my black shirt. You know what I mean? And I was just walking on campus. But when people are like stopping and they're kind of like looking at you,
Yeah.
because they recognize you. This
Yeah.
guy got massive. So the
Yeah.
people who were maybe like shoving me and stuff before, well, I'm taller than them now. I'm
Yeah.
nearly twice the
Big.
size of them. So for them to come and push and shove me now, it's like they're gonna need two or three of their friends. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
They can't do it
So it's
anymore.
like it's completely different. You know?
It's a good feeling because you come in looking smart as well with a shirt on, with the pants. Like you just come in, you feel it, you know. And not only will you feel it, everyone else will feel the aura. Like you literally have an aura around you, right? When a man is confident, he has an aura that he's literally unstoppable. He can't be touched. You can't touch me. That's what it's like. I'm walking around this campus, chest out, looking big. Like some guy said to me, it's like I have wings because my back is so big
Mm.
from training, from boxing. That's not even from weightlifting at all. That's all boxing, no weights. You know, saying that my back it looks like I have wings. Like imagine someone stopping you saying that. How random is that? But then you know that means you're doing something right. You know,
Mm.
people are looking at it, being inspired when they're seeing you and stuff like that. And that's just how things should be. You know, like you just walk with the confidence. People love to be around it. People love to be around it. People love to see it, and it inspires people to do better for themselves. You know, I have a friend right now that just went over to Canada, and you know, I told him I don't want you to come back to Ireland looking the same way that you left Ireland. You're going to come back a completely new person. And that's why I know for a fact, because he's consistently training, he's keeping me up to date with what he's doing. He's going to trim all the stomach. It's going to be gone. He's going to trim all the fat off the face. It's going to be gone. He's going to work on his relationship with God. When he comes back to Ireland, he's going to be a monster. And that's just a fact. You know, the confidence he'll have will inspire people. It'll draw people to you. Confidence draws people towards you. Not it doesn't pull them away, but when you're miserable, it just makes you're just isolated, like in a corner or something, like on your own. You know, it's contagious. It really
Mm.
is contagious. And when you're zoned in, like there's nothing else to add. Like, but
So it's
yeah,
just to wrap everything up. It's it's basically that you can. There's always an escape route, and to be honest with everybody, I'd say your best, and I mean your best possible escape route is Jesus Christ. There's no other better escape route. He's better than exercise. He's better than weightlifting. He's better than all the money in the world. He's the best place to run. But I will tell you this one thing. The second someone announces that they want to try and follow God or follow Jesus, is the second that they will start to struggle in life. Now, you might be wondering how
fact,
it's possible because when you
fact.
when you proclaim you're a Muslim or a Buddhist, Satan doesn't care. He
Yeah,
doesn't care. Huh? He cares the fact that you say you're going to follow Jesus. Oh, you're going to follow him, all right, grand. He'll try and make your life a living hell, and you will be tested. You know, you will be tested, and you will fail, probably multiple times. This is a proper test to test your mental kind of strength. You know what I mean? Can you keep going on? Yes or no? That's the best thing like everyone can do at this point. And on top of that, also be doing the exercise, be doing your college work, and you know what I mean? Because yeah, and be doing your work because you have to work to eat food. Like God's not actually going to send you like food out of heaven. It's just not possible. You know what I mean? Well, it is possible, but He just wouldn't do it because you're just going to get lazy and you're just going to be,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You're not going to
yeah.
want to work, you know? And yeah, so everyone just stay fit, stay healthy, and what what else? Um, there's actually one thing I wanted to add. If you believe sometimes your friends are dragging you down, cut them off immediately. Cut them out. Because if you don't cut that, because what I realized, another thing I realized, that paragram, or what's the old called? Pilogram shift.
Paradigm,
A
paradigm
paradigm.
shift.
The paradigm shift is when your five friends, the five people you hang around with, is basically you. This is your five friends. This is you.
Yeah,
You're a mix of these five people, and I thought that wasn't possible.
yeah,
I thought, no, I'm different to everyone else.
yeah.
Oh, I was hanging around with like toxic individuals, and what do you know? I remember this one time. I went to Comic Con, right? And then there was this guy minding his own business, And I still feel bad to this day. It was some overweight guy, right? And I said, that guy's on a bulk. You know what I mean? Like, making fun of him, calling him fat, like, you know what I mean? But it was like, and then when I said that, I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, why the hell did I just say that?
Yeah.
Because the people around me, what saying? They just make fun of everyone. And I started saying it, and I'm like, oh my
You cut
days.
yourself.
I'm turning into the people I'm around.
Yeah.
And and then I started minimize. If you can't cut them out, minimize your time around them.
Yeah.
Please, just minimize your time because you will turn into one of them. You will.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Oh, when I said it that day, I felt so bad because when I said it, it's almost like I said it without thinking, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what? What did I just say?
Yeah.
Something just took over. Oh my days, man! I felt so bad, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Uh,
Yeah, no, it's good to add, man. It's good to add. So I'm gonna end it with this one, right? People that are listening, do you ever hear when they say that there's light at the end of the tunnel when you're going through a tough time? Yeah. Most people quit, go on to the next thing. I was the same with so many different things as well, right? But one day I came to the realization that if you don't quit, you literally cannot lose. If you choose to wake up every day and continue, you can't lose. You will. There is light at the end of the tunnel, even though you might not see the tunnel. So it doesn't matter what obstacles you might be going that might be against you right now. If you keep going, you will eventually overcome all of the obstacles. And my brother here is a prime example to show that you can overcome obstacles. So it's just something that I've been implementing in my own life and in what I've been doing. And it definitely has worked. If you don't stop, you can't lose, man. So just continue and just be better. Be better you. Every day wake up, look to be better. And that's just it. You know, as my sister would say, that's just it. So that's just it. No. All right. Thank you lot for listening, yeah. This was a long episode. This was an hour 22 minutes. Crazy, right? It feels like like
maybe like,
maybe
oh,
yeah. All right. Thank you lot for listening. Appreciate it, people. Them. See you lot on the next episode. Peace.